If you have an heirloom or something you're saving on your farm, and you've been throughout the series, you've driven home the point. If you get a little bit of crossing, that's okay. Don't be scared of it. Have you noticed over the course of your career steering a plant in the direction of your growing conditions? So you might save the seed from the same whatever tomato each year, but if you save the seed from, say, your best plants or best performing plants, are you seeing localized improvement specific to your exact growing area? Variety staying the same, but there's enough subtle genetic change there, year 1 versus year 10 versus year 20 or whatever that is over a long term. There's definitely been an improvement, a noticeable change.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. And like within 3 generations, you will see changes. Within 1 generation, you can see changes. Sometimes for the worst if you're not doing if you're making a mistake, but often for the better. Um, and like I think the starting point is really important. Most varieties have some variability. If it's a cross-pollinating crop like a brassica or an onion or carrots, there's so much genetic variability in there that if you don't pay attention, over time the variety will deteriorate. And so people shouldn't be afraid if they're new to keeping seed. Like, don't worry about that. You can deal with that a couple generations later. But it also means that if you pay more attention, you select the best plants, they probably will be better than the variety you started off with. Now, in some cases, like if you have a modern tomato or a modern lettuce variety, there might not be a lot of genetic diversity in that plant. It might be fairly homogeneous. And in that case, you're not going to see much diversity over 1, 2, 3 generations. Maybe 10, 15, you might see some, but in the short term, you won't. But in most cases, but most cases, you're going to see some variability, and this is like you mentioned heirlooms. Heirlooms. They're great stories, but nothing like the heirloom varieties we have now don't act the same way they did 60 years ago when they may have been first introduced, or 100 years ago or 150 years ago, because every generation that somebody harvests a seed, you're tweaking it in a certain way. And there's going to be somewhere along that line where something went different than what was intended. So heirlooms tend to evolve. And so if like, let's say that right now, if you and I took the same variety from the same seed source, and then we went on our own farms and we started selecting it for the next 10, 15 years, and then we came back and showed each other the varieties, they probably would be different. And that's not a bad thing. Like heirlooms being a specific thing stuck in time, this is like a human construct. This is something that we attach to. But plants want to evolve, and culture evolves, and growing evolves. So when we harvest things in our own circumstances, we're selecting for our climate, we're selecting for our soil, we're selecting for our harvest techniques. We're also selecting for our personal preferences of, do you like this shape or this? Do you like this color? And then if you also take the time to taste something, you're selecting for that. And all those things will change the variety. And it might mean that if you're going to sell seed and you're using a specific name of something, somebody might be disappointed if they get yours because it's not what they expect, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And like, if you have an heirloom that you really, really want to preserve exactly how it is, you need to pay attention to the traits that are important for it and keep preserving those things. But in many cases, there's a value in preserving varieties for sure. And if that is your goal, then it's important for you to take those steps. But I think that in many cases on a working farm, that's not our goal. Our goal is to have a variety that works within our system and that meets our growing needs and meets our market needs. And by selecting things and adapting them to your needs, you're making it better and better for your farm. And this is what happened. Like, and if you're in an area where exchanging seed between people, and people are, and the varieties go in a certain way. This is what over time creates like regional varieties that are adapted in specific areas. And that's what becomes the heirlooms of tomorrow, which is a term that the Organic Seed Alliance talks about. So we don't want to be trapped in thinking about heirlooms from 100 years ago. We want to be doing good work right now to make sure that the seeds that we're harvesting and keeping are going to be great varieties later on. So that's kind of the stewardship process.
Yeah, I love that thought. I've never heard it phrased that way, and it makes so much sense. I love the way you put that out. It makes me think of following a sports franchise. I like the 49ers. They had a team in the early 90s with this team, and that's like you like that team that year. But if you follow the team, obviously players get older, they change, there's rotation, there's new coaches, but they all play under the same uniform throughout. And I think that's what this is. There's the mortgage lifter tomato. It's not the same one from 1930, but hopefully the spirit of it's there. It's got that kind of common thread within it. But as you said, it's not a clone. That said, do you see better performance with stuff you've saved after multiple generations? It's one thing to build resiliency and maybe preserve things, but for somebody who's looking at this as just if the effect I want is enhanced performance,
Mhm.
do you see that through saving where crops grow better because we're an evolving climate it's changing fairly rapidly on our time scale? What do you see?
So yes, and like any variety you buy from a seed company has been selected in a specific area, and when you bring it to your farm, it's probably not the same area. Now, we're in Canadian zone hardiness like five. In the US, that'd be like a 4A or 4B. So we have a specific window that we can grow something in, and there are varieties that the DTM is going to be too long. And so if we grow a crop, let's say we grow a pepper that has a longer DTM, and we notice that there'll be some plants that flower earlier. And so if we flag those plants and we just keep the fruit from those plants, we're going to wind up with an earlier variety every year. And if you do this over 5 or 6 years, it can be noticeably earlier. So this is something that really earliness is definitely something that we can strive for. Now, so this is just within a variety that we're looking for. And there's, either a bit to a lot of diversity in there. But if I really wanted an earlier pepper, what would be great then is to either physically cross-pollinate two, or to grow a couple varieties close together and hope to get a cross between them. And then when there's multiple varieties that cross-pollinate, you get more genetic diversity and more genetic potential. And then I will probably see more early varieties or early individuals come out, and I can start to select for those. And then I can also select for heavier yielding, and I can select, I mean, in this case, if there's actually a cross, I'm also going to select for different, appearances and taste. But and that's something that I've definitely seen. Like, we have earlier fruit on plants than we used to have, and we have heavier fruit on plants because I always select the heavier plants. And when I say heavier, I mean like more fruit per plant. So we see that for sure. And people who do that on their own farm. Now, when you first start off, you don't necessarily know what to look for. And as I repeat in the book, like, don't worry about it. Just jump in, grow a couple crops. Don't worry about that. But as you start to learn how you're harvesting seed and the seed saving process, then you can start to pay attention to what you're selecting for. And when you pay attention to something, it'll go in that direction. So yeah, we do. I do see that diversity on the, or that, not diversity. I do see those changes on the farm. And this is, I think, the biggest reason I think people should be growing seed on their own farm, is to have varieties that are adapted to their bioregions and to their unique situations.